Tonight we confront footage that shatters reality, exposing silent machines watching humanity from skies worldwide right now, tonight.
This is not rumor, not theory, not blurry lights dismissed as drones or tricks of the lens. These are raw recordings, captured by civilians, pilots, security cameras, and witnesses who had no time to invent fear. Objects that stop midair, craft that defy inertia, shapes that appear, scan, and vanish as if our laws of physics were optional. Every clip forces the same brutal question straight into your chest. UFO, or something far worse we've misunderstood for decades? Are these visitors, observers, or something that has always been here, waiting for cameras to finally catch up? What you're about to see doesn't ask for belief, it dares you to look away.
Before we dive in, like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered now.
The rotating halo in the cloud ceiling. Above a suburban highway choked with slow-moving traffic, a dashboard camera recorded something that almost escaped notice. Low clouds pressed heavily overhead, featureless and dull, until the camera's exposure adjusted and revealed a faint circular pattern embedded within them. A perfect ring of evenly spaced lights rotated in silence, suspended unnaturally close to the ground. The pale circle shimmered like a reflection that shouldn't exist. The unidentified formation slid sideways without disturbing the clouds around it. Then the geometry broke. The ring stretched into an oval, warped as if under strain, before snapping back into flawless symmetry. Analysts warn that such coordinated precision suggests more than lights. The formation may represent a gravitational lensing field or an electromagnetic suspension layer, masking a much larger structure hidden behind atmospheric distortion. It hovered like a projected halo, yet twisted like a tightened chain resisting rupture. Medieval manuscripts describe eerily similar wheels in the sky, moving against the wind, independent of storms or weather. If perfect geometry can be used as camouflage inside the clouds, how many shapes are already concealed above every overcast night, waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves? Triangle with 100 watching eyes. In the center of a city plaza, beneath textured clouds glowing faintly with reflected streetlight, a lone nightwalker raised a phone and froze. Drifting silently overhead was a massive black triangle, its surface studded with dozens of tiny white lights pulsing in synchronized clusters. A razor-sharp edge flashed once, briefly catching ambient light. The unidentified craft held altitude with no exhaust, no vibration, no sound. Then the impossible happened. Its orientation reversed instantly, without turning or rotating. Specialists analyzing the footage suggest the microlights may form a sensor lattice, an active grid reading atmospheric density, electromagnetic fields, or even surface movement below. Such data could feed a propulsion system capable of altering localized gravity gradients in real time. The craft behaved like a rigid slab carved from darkness, yet shifted like a loose leaf caught in an unseen current. No aircraft can do this. None. If a machine can rewrite its own orientation without obeying physics or airspace rules, what stops it from crossing directly through restricted zones, military, civilian, or otherwise, without ever triggering an alarm? Colossal saucer above concrete. In broad daylight above a multi-level parking structure, a bystander's phone recorded a scene that seemed torn from science fiction. A gigantic saucer-shaped craft hovered low over the concrete deck, its sheer size dwarfing the surrounding buildings. Beneath its center, a compact green car was lifted effortlessly into the air as pedestrians scattered in panic. A low humming distortion rippled through the air, visible in the video as waves of visual interference. The unidentified saucer held the vehicle suspended without cables, beams, or physical contact. Despite its enormous mass, the craft remained perfectly stable, unaffected by wind or gravity. Experts analyzing the footage suggest the lifting mechanism could involve a concentrated gravitational well or a powerful electromagnetic compression field capable of negating mass. The object steadied itself like a floating barge, yet repositioned with the precision and agility of a drone. Similar accounts appear in global folklore describing discs that silently lifted livestock or objects using invisible forces. If a machine can casually manipulate the weight of a car, what prevents it from testing those limits on much larger structures or populations? Roadside remnants of the unknown. Along a rural highway, beside a lonely fuel station, a parked vehicle's dash cam recorded a strange and tense scene. Emergency responders surrounded a distorted metallic structure lying near the road, partially concealed beneath heavy tarps, while bystanders whispered from behind windshields and kept their distance. A warped metal panel reflected light in an unnatural way, its surface unlike standard aircraft materials. Scattered fragments displayed bending patterns that followed no familiar mechanical logic. The structure's curvature suggested forces far beyond what conventional aviation materials are designed to endure. Analysts studying the still frames proposed that the wreckage may be composed of materials engineered for extreme inertial stress or sudden gravitational reversal. Portions of the metal folded as easily as fabric, while adjacent sections remained rigid and ceramic-like, resisting deformation. Such contradictions in material behavior echo historical reports from frontier-era newspapers describing fallen engines from the sky, long before powered flight existed. The footage raises an unsettling possibility. If this twisted structure is merely what was left behind, what larger craft might have already departed the scene before authorities arrived, and where did it go? The burning disk above the hillside. On a sloped pasture monitored by a stationary night vision unit, the darkness suddenly fractured. A blazing disk appeared above the hillside, hovering low as scattered human figures moved below it, unaware or too late to react. The ground lit up in harsh, artificial brilliance. A searing corona burst outward, bleaching the terrain white. The unidentified craft shifted position with no motion blur whatsoever. Then it surged forward at impossible speed, only to freeze instantly in place. Analysts note the light it emitted cast no natural shadows, suggesting a directed plasma field or radiation-based propulsion envelope that cancels inertia entirely. The object floated with the calm of a lantern on still water, then struck forward like a living thing startled into flight. This exact behavior appears repeatedly in early 20th century Foo Fighter encounters, where glowing discs stalked aircraft without sound or exhaust. What chills investigators most is intent. The craft wasn't traveling, it was hovering, watching. If a vehicle can silently illuminate and scan an entire field of people from above, what determines whether it remains an observer or decides to act? Polished disc above the clouds. During a commercial flight at sunrise, a passenger filming the horizon through an aircraft window captured an unexpected presence. Against a sky lit with deep orange and gold, a smooth metallic disc glided calmly above the cloud layer, keeping pace with the plane. For a brief moment, a silver rim flickered as sunlight caught its surface. The object then shifted altitude abruptly, moving up and down without disturbing the surrounding air. Moments later, it accelerated away, leaving behind an impossible streak with no visible shockwave or atmospheric disruption. Aviation analysts suggest the craft's behavior indicates a propulsion system that directly manipulates gravitational vectors, allowing it to maintain level flight independent of turbulence or airflow. It hovered with the stability of a massive water tank, then vanished instantly like a light switched off. Such details closely mirror mid-20th century pilot reports describing polished discs that matched aircraft altitude without wings or control surfaces. If this object was able to track a commercial airliner unnoticed, what purpose drives it to observe human flight paths so closely? The light that drank the storm. As a thunderstorm rolled in from the distance, a witness filmed a dark disk suspended above the cloud line. From its underside, a thin column of light descended, twisting, alive, before snapping out of existence. A narrow energy strand lashed downward. The unidentified craft remained perfectly stable. Nearby clouds distorted without lightning discharge. Atmospheric physicists proposed the strand may have been a controlled plasma conduit used to transfer energy or extract charged particles directly from the storm. It behaved like lightning but obeyed no randomness. Aviation reports have long referenced luminous siphons appearing during storms, often coinciding with instrument failures. If the craft can harvest energy directly from atmospheric systems, endurance becomes irrelevant. No fuel, no supply chain, no limit. A machine that feeds on the sky does not need to leave. It only needs to wait for the weather and the next opportunity. The object, flying formation with a jet. From a passenger seat overlooking the wing, a phone camera captured something no one on board was warned about. Just beyond the aircraft, at cruising altitude, A polished metallic object paced the jet, perfectly level, frighteningly close. Sunlight flashed across its curved hull. The unidentified object adjusted bearing without turbulence. Then it climbed straight upward, vertically, without any acceleration curve. Aviation analysts stress that matching a jetliner's speed and stability at altitude requires a propulsion system entirely unrelated to lift or thrust. The object appeared to redirect gravity itself, allowing flawless vector control even in high wind shear. It held formation like a tethered drone, then vanished instantly, like a shutter snapping closed. The implication is chilling. This was not a distant sighting. It was proximity, deliberate, measured, controlled. If such a craft can approach a commercial airliner without detection, without reaction, without consequence, what exactly is it waiting to witness from so close inside our skies? The witness who walked too close. On an open field bordering dense woodland, a handheld phone recorded a scene that feels staged until you realize it wasn't. 3 humanoid figures stood beside a landed disc, their limbs angled at unsettling proportions as they watched the lone witness approach. Behind them, a reflective dome pulsed faintly. The unidentified beings moved in synchronized, measured steps. A ripple passed across the craft's rim, distorting the air itself. Investigators argue the disc's stability on uneven ground suggests localized gravity suppression rather than mechanical landing. The craft appeared grounded, yet carried no weight, floating inside its own stabilized field. It remained motionless like stone, but vibrated subtly, like a tuned engine under tension. Historical reports describe vehicles that behaved less like machines and more like controlled distortions of space, allowing occupants to exit without doors or ramps. What chills analysts is intent. These entities did not flee. They did not hide. They waited. If they were willing to stand exposed in daylight, what were they prepared to communicate or demonstrate to the human who came too close? The city that looked up. Above a tree-lined, multi-lane city avenue, dozens of witnesses raised their phones at once. Floating over the road was an immense disc-shaped structure, so large it defied scale, while 2 small humanoid figures walked calmly beneath it, hand in hand, as traffic slowed to a crawl. The colossal underside glowed in concentric rings. The unidentified craft cast no conventional shadow. Despite its size, it hovered with impossible steadiness. Physicists reviewing the footage suggest the structure's lack of vibration or altitude drift implies a field that nullifies gravitational drag entirely. It loomed like a suspended mountain wrapped in fog, yet advanced smoothly, as if sliding along invisible rails. Ancient carvings from vanished civilizations depict cities in the sky, descending among humans, often during periods of collapse or transition. This was not subtle. This was not hidden. If a craft of this scale can traverse populated areas without interception, evacuation, or response, then the question is no longer whether it's known, but what agreements, failures, or silences made such a passage possible. The crowd that became a test subject. In a packed nightlife district glowing with neon and noise, something changed the atmosphere instantly. Hundreds of people began recording as a bright disc rotated low above rooftops, its colors shifting in perfect symmetry while the crowd surged forward in confusion and awe. A luminous ring cycled again and again. The unidentified object held position without sound. Then the city went unnaturally quiet, seconds before it slid sideways. Analysts believe the synchronized light patterns may indicate active scanning or communication, possibly mapping electromagnetic or neurological signatures across the crowd. The object drifted gently like a lantern, then accelerated laterally with surgical precision. Similar mass sightings occurred in the 1980s across Brazil and China, where crowds reported color-shifting discs and sudden silence before rapid movement. What alarms researchers now is scale. This was not a lone witness. This was hundreds. If such a craft can observe, record, and analyze thousands of people simultaneously, how much data has already been harvested from concerts, protests, festivals, anywhere humans gather without defense? The formation that paced the jet. From a commercial jet slicing through night fog, a passenger aimed a phone at the wing and captured something meant to stay unseen. A cluster of bright lights formed a structured shape just outside the window, pacing the aircraft as the horizon vanished into cloud. A triangular light pattern stabilized beside the jet. The unidentified craft closed distance without turbulence. Then the lights blurred, vanishing, reappearing instantly elsewhere. Analysts reviewing the leaked footage suggest the craft's abrupt repositioning demonstrates propulsion completely decoupled from atmospheric friction. The object did not accelerate, it relocated. Such behavior aligns with classified radar anomalies reported along transoceanic routes for decades. The craft hovered with the steadiness of a broadcast tower, then disappeared like a blink of an eye. This was not a warning. This was not a malfunction. It was proximity by choice. If these craft reveal themselves only briefly, only to random civilians, then the message may not be for governments at all, but for us, and it may already be underway. The line that broke the sky. On a quiet residential street, several neighbors looked up at the same instant. A razor-thin streak of light carved silently across the night sky, bright enough to command attention, yet leaving no trail behind. A single line of fire flashed, sharp and clean. The unidentified projectile bent its path mid-flight. Then it slowed, impossibly, before vanishing outright. Physicists reviewing the footage suggest the object was not moving through air in any conventional sense. Its course correction implies a propulsion system capable of rewriting trajectory instantaneously, possibly through gravity warping impulses rather than thrust. It launched forward like a meteor, then adjusted direction with the precision of a laser pointer redirected mid-beam. Ancient astronomers wrote of sky arrows, streaks that defied prediction and vanished without impact. What remains unanswered is intent. This object was not falling, it was aiming, then reconsidering. If it can ignore velocity and inertia entirely, what destination was it calculating, and what made it decide to disappear instead? The exit from the mountain. Near a sprawling limestone cavern complex, a tourist zoomed in on what first appeared to be shadow. Inside the cave's vast mouth hovered a smooth, disc-shaped craft, its underside glowing faintly as it drifted outward into open air. A metallic rim shimmered at the stone threshold. The unidentified craft held position without touching rock, its edges blurred, vibrating like heat over asphalt. Geological analysts note the precision required to hover within inches of jagged stone without collision. The craft may have been using electromagnetic contour scanning to map the cave's interior in real time, generating an invisible buffer zone between itself and solid rock. It floated delicately like a leaf on still water, then surged forward abruptly, snapping into motion with magnetic urgency. Folklore across mountain regions speaks of underground sky gates, hidden passages where lights emerged from the earth itself. If craft are capable of entering and exiting subterranean spaces, then the ground beneath us may not be as sealed, solid, or empty as we assume. The silver shadow beside the wing. From the window of a commercial jet, a passenger recorded a silver disc pacing the aircraft at altitude. Its reflective surface caught sunlight in brief flashes as it held perfect formation just beyond the wingtip. A polished hull glinted, then dimmed. The unidentified object matched speed without turbulence. Then it climbed straight upward. No arc, no buildup, no strain. Aerospace analysts argue that maintaining formation at jet speed without lift surfaces requires a propulsion system entirely independent of airflow. The object appeared to cancel wind resistance completely, hovering relative to the aircraft like a tethered balloon before ascending vertically as if pulled by an unseen force. Sightings like this cluster along major flight corridors, often dismissed due to their brevity. The artificial moon above the river. Along a secluded riverside trail where only footsteps and water usually break the silence, a jogger slowed, then stopped. His phone captured a luminous circular craft hovering low over the valley, its central glow washing the foothills in cold white light, as if a second moon had been lowered into place. A flawless ring radiated evenly, unblinking. The unidentified object held altitude without sway or drift. The surrounding trees fell unnaturally still, as if the air itself had been switched off. Environmental analysts note the absence of wind disturbance, insect movement, or rippling leaves, signs that the craft may have been generating a localized pressure cancellation field, actively suppressing gravity and atmospheric motion. It hung motionless like a lamp bolted to the sky, then slid forward smoothly, guided rather than propelled. Lights moving beneath the clouds. From the cockpit of a small aircraft cruising beneath heavy cloud cover, a pilot raised a handheld camera as something bright bloomed below. A tight cluster of lights moved through the mist, illuminating the underside of the cloud deck and warping its edges from within. A sharp tri-light formation pulsed rhythmically. The unidentified form drifted independently of cloud movement. Then it surged upward, cleanly, violently, without turbulence. Aviation analysts argue the illumination pattern suggests a high-energy core capable of displacing moisture and bending the surrounding air mass, creating a diffused halo of electromagnetic interference. The object glided calmly like a lantern on water, then rose abruptly like a startled bird, without the lag or buffeting any aircraft would experience. The spinning crown between towers. Above a brightly lit city plaza framed by glass and steel, phones tilted upward in unison. Drifting between skyscrapers was a massive rotating ring, its underside alive with icy blue arcs that swept across reflective facades like scanning beams. A band of lights rotated with mechanical precision. The unidentified ring maintained a flawless orbital balance. Without warning, it snapped sideways. No arc, no transition. Urban analysts believe the controlled rotation may generate a stabilizing gravitational field, allowing the structure to pivot around a fixed point in space rather than relying on forward motion. It hovered like a stationary halo, serene and centered, then fled like a stone skipping across water. The disk that rested without touching. In an isolated desert basin far from roads or lights, a long-range telephoto lens locked onto something that should not have been there. A massive disk hovered inches above the sand, perfectly still, its blue-lit underside spilling rippling light across the ground as heat haze trembled around its edges. A circular pattern pulsed with mechanical rhythm. The unidentified craft held position without sinking or drifting. A thin mist gathered beneath it, impossible in dry desert air. Analysts believe the shimmering layer below the craft may indicate a gravity nullification field ionizing dust and air particles, allowing the object to remain suspended without displacement. It sat like a stone balanced on glass, yet its glow shifted subtly, rising and falling as though the machine itself were breathing. Silent Crescent over urban sky. In a crowded European neighborhood, amid the echo of traffic and daily city noise, a passerby raised a smartphone and unknowingly documented something extraordinary. Suspended high between residential buildings was a faint, crescent-shaped object, hovering far above the skyline, yet clearly out of place. A soft, pale glow pulsed along its curve at irregular intervals, captured on camera. The arc-like form subtly dipped and adjusted itself in perfectly still air, showing no sign of drift or instability. Without warning, the object shifted laterally in a sharp, clean movement that defied conventional motion. There was no visible acceleration curve, no gradual buildup of speed. Experts reviewing the footage suggest the crescent's stability could indicate a directed energy envelope or a gravity-altering field, allowing it to remain oriented regardless of atmospheric drag. It hovered with the calm steadiness of a lantern on a string, yet darted sideways like a startled bird. The object that faded on purpose. Beneath a dull, hazy overcast, a lone recording captured a metallic disc drifting far above city altitude. Its outline shimmered faintly, then softened, fading in and out as if wrapped in distortion. A thin rim glinted, then vanished. The unidentified craft held flawless horizontal alignment. It disappeared without accelerating away. Optical analysts believe the intermittent visibility may result from a refractive distortion shell bending surrounding light, allowing the object to blend seamlessly into atmospheric haze. It hovered like a distant balloon, passive and unthreatening, until it simply ceased to be there. Historical paintings depict similar forms, half-seen discs hidden among clouds, dismissed as symbolism. Figures at the grounded disc. In a remote mountain basin littered with rock and ice, a helmet-mounted action camera recorded a moment that should not exist. Resting on uneven ground was a massive metallic disc, its surface dull and heavy against the landscape. Standing beside it were humanoid figures, still, silent, waiting. As the camera wearer advanced, the figures turned together. Elongated forms pivoted with mechanical precision. A shimmer rippled across the craft's hull, like energy being redistributed beneath its skin. Frame-by-frame analysis suggests the surface was not inert metal, but an active composite, possibly a living structure or a dynamic gravitational shell. The craft sat with the weight of a grounded boulder, yet emitted a low, resonant hum like machinery breathing beneath stone. The daylight shadow above the trees. In broad afternoon light, a backyard camcorder recorded a dark disk gliding above a suburban tree line. Against the bright sky, its silhouette remained unnaturally sharp, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. A flat, unnatural shadow stretched beneath the craft. The unidentified disk changed direction instantly. It tilted subtly without gaining or losing speed. Imaging specialists believe the craft's surface may be coated in an adaptive material that absorbs or redirects sunlight, allowing it to remain visually muted even in daylight. It moved with the calm glide of a sailplane, yet turned sharply like a tossed coin caught mid-spin. Many mid-century sightings share this exact visual signature, often preserved on degraded analog tapes dismissed as artifacts or exposure flaws. The object that waited in the desert. Across an open desert plain, a distant zoom lens captured a metallic object hovering motionless above the sand. Heat shimmer warped its lower edges, while camels wandered nearby, oblivious. A dome-like surface glinted faintly. The unidentified craft resisted wind without correction. No dust plume formed beneath it. Analysts suggest the object was anchored to a localized anti-gravity point, holding altitude with extreme precision while counteracting environmental interference. It hovered like a stone suspended on a magnet, making micro-adjustments like a gyroscope, balancing itself endlessly. Nomadic legends describe silent silver shelters appearing in barren lands, structures that arrived, waited, and departed without trace. The disk entombed in steel and salt. Off a remote coastline far from shipping lanes, a scuba team descended on a known wreck site, only to find something that did not belong there. Helmet cam footage shows a corroded metallic disc wedged tightly against the torn hull of a sunken cargo ship. As a diver's light swept across its surface, thick vines and marine growth clung to metal that should not exist. A tilted rim jutted from the sediment like a buried blade. The unidentified hull displayed flawless, uniform curvature. Instead of shattering, the metal bent inward along an unnatural fracture line. Materials analysts note the absence of rivets, seams, or recognizable alloys. The disc appears grown or formed as a single continuous structure, engineered to endure forces far beyond human design limits. Though it rested heavy as an anchor, its deformation suggests sudden inertial reversal rather than long-term crushing pressure. The light that took him. In a quiet, forested residential yard, a monochrome security camera captured a moment so stark it defies disbelief. A man stood alone beneath the trees when a column of blinding light descended from above, engulfing him completely. Below, a dark, motionless figure watched, head tilted upward, unmoving. The narrow beam constricted around the man's torso. The unidentified craft hovered silently above the tree line. His body rose vertically, with no cables, no struggle, no support. Analysts studying the footage propose the beam behaves like a controlled gravitational tractor field, capable of isolating and manipulating biological mass with extreme precision. The man ascended rigidly, like a mannequin on display, yet drifted subtly, as if submerged in fluid. Rural folklore has long described silent takings beneath bright discs, dismissed for generations as paranoia. The color-shifting sentinel by the sea. At twilight, along a quiet shoreline, a beachgoer lifted a phone just as something glided into view. A low-flying disc moved parallel to the coast, its hull emitting alternating bands of green, blue, and red light that reflected across the water in perfect symmetry. A rotating ring of light pulsed with steady rhythm. The unidentified craft hovered without rotors, jets, or sound. Then it slid sideways. No tilt, no banking, no transition. Researchers believe the shifting colors may correspond to fluctuating energy states inside a propulsion core designed to stabilize the craft's gravitational footprint. It hovered as reliably as a buoy, yet strafed laterally like a chess piece moving across a board. Historic maritime logs describe eerily similar colored wheels pacing ships along coastlines, silent and deliberate. Black triangle in the night clouds. High above a dense blanket of clouds, a nighttime witness aimed a camera skyward and captured a massive triangular silhouette gliding silently through the darkness. The craft appeared jet black against the faint glow of the cloud tops, with two bright points shimmering beneath its underside. A sharply defined edge held perfectly steady as it moved, unaffected by wind or turbulence. The triangular form rotated smoothly without banking or tilting, maintaining orientation in a way conventional aircraft cannot. Then, without any visible transition, it changed direction abruptly. No arc, no inertia, just a clean shift. Footage analysts argued that such motion implies a propulsion method capable of channeling gravity itself, reducing mass effects and eliminating drag. The craft hovered like a fixed structure suspended in the sky, then vanished as suddenly as a curtain being pulled aside. The probe that touched nothing. Along a rural fence line under total darkness, a handheld flashlight camera caught a small glowing sphere hovering inches above the grass. It rotated slowly, methodically, while a faint vibration rippled through nearby plants as if the ground itself were listening. A bright core flickered within the orb. The unidentified sphere drifted without brushing a single blade of grass. Its shadow slid across the ground independently of its light. Analysts suggest the probe may be a reconnaissance unit, its rotating luminance driven by a microreactor or scanning node sampling environmental data in real time. The object floated like a soap bubble, fragile and effortless, yet pulsed steadily like a heartbeat. Similar scout lights have been reported for decades, often appearing shortly before larger craft are observed in the same region. Storm-locked metallic visitor. In the middle of rough North Atlantic waters, a cargo ship's deck camera operated by an on-duty watch officer captured an unsettling event. As towering storm clouds churned overhead, a vast metallic disk emerged, tilting downward through the chaos while the vessel below pitched violently with each wave. The object appeared unaffected by the turbulence surrounding it. Analysts examining the footage point to the craft's seamless yet sharply controlled motion. Its behavior suggests a system capable of manipulating localized gravitational or mass fields, possibly producing electromagnetic interference and inertial dampening. It drifted calmly, like a buoy on water, then surged forward with the sudden force of a jet ski at full throttle. Such behavior echoes old maritime legends of ships in the sky reported during violent storms. If something can anchor itself inside a raging storm, what would stop it from positioning itself silently above our cities? From remote deserts to crowded cities, from deep oceans to cruising altitudes, the footage we've explored points to one undeniable truth. These encounters are not random. The objects move with intention, precision, and restraint. They appear when they choose, where they choose, and disappear before answers can form. What's most unsettling isn't their technology, it's their patience. Whatever is observing us doesn't rush, doesn't announce itself, and doesn't explain. Legends, historical records, and modern footage are beginning to align too closely to ignore. The question is no longer if something else is here, but how long it has been and why it allows itself to be seen at all. If this footage made you stop and think, like the video to support deeper investigation, comment with your theories or personal experiences. Your perspective could matter more than you think. And subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered for more unexplained sightings, careful analysis, and stories that challenge what we believe about the skies above us.